Fire Emblem Fates came out last year in Japan, but it's finally had a Western release. For those not familiar with the series, Fire Emblem will look like a weird, simple strategy game, and they might not get why fans are so rabidly obsessed with it. But mention to a fan that there's a new Fire Emblem game and you will start to see the froth form around their mouth.
That's right, this series has some of the best turn-based action around, and Fates is no exception. There's also an epic story.
There's a few ways to play a Fire Emblem game, but really it's all about that hardcore classic mode. This will make you weep into the touchscreen of your 3DS as you permanently lose your best soldiers to silly mistakes.
Well, let's go over the setup, Barger, because that first hour is pretty crazy. The game begins in a battle between two warring kingdoms.
And then you flash back in time, and 10 minutes in, bam, amnesia storyline.
Hey, wake up! Classic JRPG. At least they don't harp on about the lost memory stuff too much.
True.
Things get pretty hectic from there, and this is a teensy tiny bit spoilery, but we kind of have to talk about the opening chapter because it sets up the entire branching story.
Yes, and also because it's insane, mostly in a good way.
First of all, you've been kind of imprisoned by your creepy father, the king, and you have to fight to prove that you can go out and see the world. You then learn that you're the descendant of some ancient dragon gods, which is kind of a lot to take in.
Creepy King then demands you fight your brother and also murder some prisoners. You defy him, and then are punished by being sent on a mission to check out a fortress with old mate Codpiece Hans. Wow. You are betrayed, someone tries to assassinate you, you grow some weird antlers, a magic sword tries to kill you, kind of. A nurse who is actually a bird that is actually a dragon that you rescued as a child saves you. You're then transported to another astral plane. Oh, and you flirt with your sister.
Yes.
You tend to flirt with everyone, actually. And who knows if these people are blood related, but either way, there's incest themes.
Yeah, and that's just the first hour. There's so much drama in these little animations. And there is a lot of dialogue, but I was on board with all of this. I mean, not the incest, but you know. Once you play the first couple of hours, you reach the point of that original first battle, and this is where Fire Emblem Fates becomes 3 different campaigns. You can choose to side with Hoshido, which is called Birthright, or the creepy King Army Nor, which is called Conquest, or play the DLC, which is called Revelation.
Yeah, so Conquest and Birthright are sold as 2 separate retail boxes, but you can go online and buy the campaign that you don't own along with the DLC.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing and a strange way to go because they're essentially releasing 3 different games that branch into separate storylines.
Yeah, and at first I thought that was a bit cheeky, you know, having these separate games, but then I realized these campaigns are all different, which means it's just more Fire Emblem. The biggest difference between Birthright and Conquest is difficulty and blood versus upbringing. Birthright is the easier game, and you probably won't start losing units until hour 7 or 8. Conquest is a darker story where you side with Creepy King, and that's brutal. Heck, I've played my fair share of Fire Emblem, but within a few turns of Conquest, I was stressed out to the max.
Yeah, it's savage. In Conquest, you can't do challenge maps, which means you can't grind out levels for your units. So choosing who to level up really matters.
Yeah, I don't think you'd want to play Conquest in classic mode unless you really want to feel pain, because I lost a unit on my 2nd turn.
Don't forget me.
And word is that the Revelation DLC is actually better than both Conquest and Birthright, because it's got the difficulty of Conquest, but you can also grind out levels like in Birthright.
Yeah, we haven't spent as much time in Conquest or Revelation because it's recommended that you play them after you've cut your teeth in Birthright. And these are big games.
Yeah, they're great looking games now too. There's more use of 3D in the maps, and I love the little snippets of audio that help punctuate the scenes.
Everything's okay.
I stuck to classic mode, Hex, because I love that threat of losing units, but I am also willing to soft reset the game to try and save them.
Are you willing to live with the shame though, Barjo?
Yes.
Combat relies heavily on ambushing enemies and not getting ambushed yourself, especially when you have low levels in the field who need to stay back and help out when they can. Putting units side by side will give them an attack bonus and can often mean the end of an enemy before they can cause too much trouble. You can also pair up units for more defense, and there's some good red exclamation mark indicators for when attacking is a really, really bad idea.
There's some fun, unique units too, such as Azura, who can sing to give a unit another turn. It's totally OP and amazing. This time around, if you want to promote units or reclass them, you need to use rare seals. That's how I got this crazy robot dog archer guy. He's my favorite.
That was a good fight.
Seals are a lot rarer in Conquest mode, and there's so many different types now. I also like how cool the units looked after you do a seal upgrade. We should also mention that this Fire Emblem has a fortress that you can build called My Castle.
Yeah, there's gear vendors, blacksmithing, a lottery, food which gives your units bonuses, a sauna, and of course your personal quarters for all that flirting and potential incest.
I get why those personal quarters are there, you know, to help build the relationships between characters, and then that carries over into the combat, but it is particularly creepy if you're playing the non-Western Japanese version. In the Japanese version, you're also encouraged to poke their faces at the same time with the stylus in a weird petting minigame. This has been removed for the Western release, however you still can scroll down to look at their chest.
Come on, guys.
So weird.
How nice to spend this time with you.
You can also upload your castle online, or visit other people's uploaded fortresses and get some free food, or choose to fight NPCs in their arenas. There's also online multiplayer versus battles, and you can choose to fight in your own castle, which gives you some advantages.
That advantage did not help us.
Such a nuisance.
I did it!
Wrecked.
So wrecked. It's nice to have a fortress to call home, but some parts of it felt a bit pointless, just busy work and not actual fun.
I liked all the relationship building conversations you can have in the castle, and there are some funny little interactions there. Yeah, the more I think about it, Badger, the more I like that there are two main versions of this game. I mean, I think the difficulty difference will please fans, but mostly I just think it's so cool that you get to play out the other side of the fight and experience both sides of the battle.
Yeah, it's a really interesting approach, and it is genuinely emotional when you stop playing Birthright and start playing Conquest and mercilessly slaughter those you fought so hard to care for. What are you going to give it, Hex?
I'm giving this 4 stars.
4.5 from me.